if this x is greater than the width of the screen minus the width of the turkey. So this dot width bounce. When it gets to the edge of the screen,
it will
bounce. What's going to happen when it gets over here? It's just going to keep going to bounce it off the other side. So I'm just going to copy this code and say if this x is less than 0, then we're going to make the velocity equal to the opposite of what it was. That actually leads to an error later on, but we'll fix it later on. Gets to this side of the screen, it's going to bounce, bounce. And then when it gets to the other side of the screen, notice we didn't have to subtract the width for this bounce side because it's measuring from this point. So when this point gets to 0, it will bounce, bounce. And we'll do that all day long. Okay, I want to give it y velocity. Let's give it a y velocity of 2. Let us run that. Because inside the sprite, I don't actually take into account the y velocity. That this y is equal to this y plus vy. And if we run that, now the turkey is going down as it's going, but look what happens when it gets to the edge of the screen. Oh, it goes off the screen. I want it to bounce off the bottom of the screen and off the top of the screen as well. I'm just going to copy this code and change it all for the y. So if this y is greater than the height of the screen, take away the height of the bird, then this vy is equal to the negative of vy. If this y is less than 0, then this vy is equal to the negative of vy. There you go. There's the bounce code in the y direction. Run it. We get the turkey doing this. Bounce, bounce, bounce. So far, our code and our object code doesn't look very much different. There's no difference to the object code. So you're probably thinking, what's the advantage of this? This is the advantage of object code. This is the sprite object. This is for the instance of each sprite. Each sprite has its own move function. Each sprite has its own draw function. I only have one sprite. But what happens if I make 20 sprites? If I make 20 turkeys? This is going to be the first time you've seen an array. I'm going to make an array of turkeys. So I'm going to call this turkeys. I'm just going to call it turkeys. I'm going to make a for loop. A for loop is we're going to do something over and over and over again. I'm going to make a variable called max turkeys. Let's make that equal to 20. For I equals 0, we're making a variable called I. It starts off being 0. While our I is less than the number of max turkeys, I want the I to go up by 1, I++. I'm going to make a loop. We start the I as being 0, and we're going to make the I go up by 1 each time we go through this loop. So the I starts at 0, then it goes to 1, then it goes to 2, then it goes to 3. While the I is less than the maximum number, less than 20, it's going to do this loop, everything inside this loop. What we're going to do inside the loop, we're going to make the turkeys. We have turkey I, turkey 0, turkey 1, turkey 2, turkey 3. We have 20 turkeys. I need to make a random number generator. I'm going to make a random number generator function. I'm going to call it myrand. I'm going to take 3 variables. I'm going to take A, B, and C. These are called arguments. My A, if we're making a random number between 5 and 10, so the A is 5, the B is 10. What's the range going to be? You take the biggest minus the smallest. That's the range. 5 to 10, 10 minus 5, 5. You have a range of 5 numbers. And let's say we're doing 5 to 20. It would be 20 take away 5, 15. You have a range of 15. So I'm going to make a variable called range. It is going to be my B variable minus my A variable. I'm going to make a variable called rand, R-N-D. I'm going to make it equal to my C. Okay, because the C is, when we're picking a random number, like I want you to pick a random number between 5 and 10, but I don't want it to be 7. You would think it doesn't happen very often, but when you're dealing with velocities, the velocity you probably don't want is a 0. You want to pick an x speed, but you don't want it to be 0. You want it to be positive or negative, but not 0. So that's why the C is so important. I'm going to make my rand variable C. I'm going to do something new called a while loop. While rand is equal to C, I want you to do everything inside this loop. While rand is equal to C, it is going to generate a random number. I'm going to make rand equal to math.random. This will generate a random number between 0 and 1. I'm going to multiply that by my range, and then I'm going to add the value of A to it. Then we're going to return the rand. So that's my random number generator. I went through it really fast because we've already done it in the button program. I want to make a new sprite with a random position, myrand. I'm going to say between 100 and 700, but I don't want it to be 0, let's say. I'm going to do the same for the y position, between 100 and 400. For the velocity, I'm going to say from -4 to +4, but I don't want it to be 0, and the same for the y. And I'm making a whole bunch of turkeys. I'm going to copy this for loop, because I'm going to need to use it in my draw. Turkeys.move. Down here it's draw. Up here it's move. In the move, instead of turkey.move, I'm going to have for I is equal to max turkeys. I think there's an error here. I don't see the error. Dot move. Okay. And then we draw. I have a comma here where it should be a semicolon. Semicolon should be here. Same with here. Same with up here. Save that and back to the console. Cannot set property 0 of undefined. Turkeys is equal to a new is equal to an array. Turkeys is equal to new array. An array. We've talked about variables. A variable is, think of a variable as a cardboard box. It's something, it holds a number, or in the case of our programs, it could hold a number, it could hold text, it could hold a sound, it could hold an image. That's a variable. An array, it's not like a cardboard box, but it's like a box with a whole bunch of boxes in it. I always think of it as like an egg carton. It's like a container that can hold many, many, many things. An array of turkeys, it's going to hold all the 20 turkeys that we're making. So let's save that. Let's run that. Look at these turkeys. Each turkey is not in the same position as any of the other turkeys. I mean, some of them eventually they might coincide, but you see what's happening? Each turkey is running its own version of sprite.move and sprite.draw. Each one is an object. That's object-oriented programming. That's 20 turkeys, and they are autonomously figuring out where to go and where to be. I have 20 turkeys. I can easily change that to 200 turkeys. There's 200 turkeys. If I put 2,000 turkeys, we might see some glitching. Okay, let's try it at 2,000 turkeys. There's 2,000 turkeys.